Для вот своего имени, для наследия выбрал бы Моралеса. Почему? Потому что он сейчас непобежденный. Если завтра выиграешь Иана Гарри, будут говорить, его Шавкат побеждал там несколько боев назад. И, ну, я согласен, что они оба...
Do you think that getting this fight against Islam Makhachev, do you think you've helped to make that happen, aside from just being a great fighter?
I believe... So, I know I've earned this fight from fighting, but I absolutely know that my online presence has helped funnel fans into the same mindset. Because I've earned it. There's no doubt that I've earned it. I beat the former champion. My reward for winning this fight means my next fight is a guy I already beat on 3 weeks' notice. That's my reward. That's my next opponent. Does that make sense? A guy I already beat.
Makhachev.
After Makhachev, when I beat him, my reward is you have to fight a guy again that you already beat on 3 weeks' notice. I've earned the fight. I went in and I beat him by 3 rounds. Dominated me, couldn't take me down. The whole point of his game was he couldn't take me down. It's a guy who trained with Islam. So afterwards, I dropped this epic, leaving the Octagon. There's a video of it, it's great. I dropped this epic, a guy actually handed me in the stand, he had like a massive leprechaun hat. So I took it off him in the stands, put it on my head, and then I was like, Islam, he couldn't stop me, he couldn't take me down, went through this whole kind of, I just dropped an epic promo for the fight. I was like, so it's your job, your duty, show up, fight the best contender in the world, and you're looking at him. Ian Machado Garry, it was wild, it was epic. It's just like, you can control the narrative, which I love. I think that's
it's the custom stuff.
Yeah, I'm genuinely like, I'm not afraid. There's nothing I see him doing that I'm afraid of. There's nothing I think of him doing that I'm afraid of. I chose to do this sport for a living. I chose to get into MMA. I wanted to be a world champion. I wanted to prove I was one of the best in the world. And I have to do that by beating some of the best in the world. So for me, there's no fear. There's risk of, well, you could lose, you could be unconscious, you could be X, Y, Z, but without that risk, I'll never achieve the dream.
Correct.
So it's not fear for me. It's part of the process. As I said, I think about all the things that can happen in a fight so that you're ready for them. I know how good Islam Makhachev is. I know how talented he is. He's 29-1 in the sport. He's a 2-weight division champion. He's the most successful lightweight champion of all time and had the most lightweight defenses of all time. He is the current welterweight champion of the world. He came up a division and won the title. He is tied for the longest consecutive active win streak in UFC history. And if he wins his next fight against me, he will break the record for the longest consecutive wins. So I have a 2-weight world champion, the #1 pound-for-pound fighter on the planet. And the same man is looking to break the record for the most wins consecutively in the UFC. And that's the man I get to fight to prove that I'm the best in the world.
Is the worst that you see when you look ahead to Makhachev?
Being held down for 25 minutes and just having a boring fight. He's a phenomenal wrestler, a phenomenal grappler. And if you allow him the ability to stay on top and utilize his grappling and his wrestling, he can suffocate you and just lie on you like a weighted blanket, and you just find it so hard to move. And I'm like, that's not fun for anyone. It's not fun for me. It shouldn't be fun for him. And it's definitely not fun for anyone watching. So I feel like, and he did that. He did exactly that to win the world title fight. And I feel like that's the worst case scenario, because the best in the world lose fights by getting knocked out or getting submitted. In this sport, in MMA, winning and losing isn't like boxing. It's a very recency bias sport. They love you, they hate you, you win, you lose. Oh, he won again, we all love him again. We've forgotten about the loss. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I feel like far too many fighters focus on not losing as opposed to winning. Like, just focus on winning. That's all you need to do. If I go out there in that fight and he outskilled me and he's better than me, but I fought him as hard as I could, I can leave that octagon proud that I did everything I possibly could to win that fight. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Why?
Because I'm too good. I'm just too...
Ian Machado Garry is articulating his competitive approach as his eagerly anticipated matchup against Islam Makhachev approaches. The Irish competitor has communicated his tactical methodology, operating with conviction that he possesses requisite tools for orchestrating championship upset. Garry acknowledges Makhachev's documented strengths, while simultaneously identifying specific areas where Garry theorizes competitive advantage materializes. Despite occupying underdog positioning, Garry demonstrates unwavering confidence, persuaded that he possesses sufficient capability for defeating odds and validating his competitive merit. Let's examine his comprehensive perspective.
Now, as the fight approaches, when you're in camp, what finding those 1% actually looks like for you, the places that you have to put yourself to be doing more than anybody else.
I'm going to say something that I think a lot of people wouldn't expect, but I feel like the 1% is by doing less. Rest and recovery and joy. Joy as a 1%. Like, I enjoy spending time with my wife and my kids. I enjoy spending time with my friends and my family. I feel better when I'm playing in the garden with my little boy.
You're not looking at your watch thinking another hour of sparring and I'll be even fitter, even stronger, even more prepared.
I train once a day for maybe 5 days a week.
Even in camp?
Hard. When I show up at those sessions, I give it 100%. Whatever I'm doing, I'm always focusing on something each session that helps me get to where I want to be in my expectations of myself. The 1% for me are nutrition, recovery, sleep, joy, laughter, friendship. Everything you do affects your life.
Yeah.
So I can be the best I want to be on the mats. And when I spar, I can be the best in the world. But if I'm an arsehole to my wife and I'm not being her best friend, then I go into the cage going, oh, thank God I'm not. Like, that's not the energy I want. I want to be with my friend.
So you have balance even in camp. No fighter I've ever spoken to has balance in camp, and you'll know that from your background.
But what you've just said is the problem. In camp. This is my life. There should be no camp. There should be no, I've stopped training, but now I'm getting back in because I've got to fight. This is my life.
But like every
I'm a
boxer
professional.
or every fighter ever has done that.
But I'm a professional. 2 of my biggest fights of my life, actually I'd argue 3 of the biggest fights of my life have been on short notice. I fought my pro debut the 16th of February 2021 in Cage Warriors Liverpool on 7 days notice against an animal. I fought arguably the biggest challenge of my career so far on 3 weeks notice against Shavkat Rakhmonov, who was 18-0 and had 18 finishes going into that fight.
Yeah.
I took him on 3 notice when everybody else.
This psychological conviction transcends promotional rhetoric. Garry structures every training camp around exhaustive competitive analysis, methodically deconstructing all potential opponent tactical approaches. Garry systematically examines every conceivable defeat scenario, ensuring comprehensive defensive preparation against his opponent's technical arsenal. Whether defending against takedown attempts or escaping compromised positional situations, Garry establishes complete octagon comfort because he maintains absolute confidence that Makhachev cannot introduce unexpected technical elements.
Like when I when I know who I'm going to fight, I start with the negative elements. what could go wrong? What could he do right? Where could he try win the fight? How could he try win the fight? Is it going to be by taking me down and holding me down? Is it going to be by trying to cause chaos and make it a scramble and I have to be smart with my defense and move my feet and get out of the pocket? What are the ways that this person I'm fighting, I believe, could he try to take advantage of to win this fight? Once he does that, I train for all those. So that in the fight, I know mentally, I've done it. And the closer to the fight, every week that gets closer, it's more and more.
According to Garry's assessment, fight week elimination of residual uncertainty materializes through comprehensive training camp preparation. Having systematically prepared against all potential opponent threats, he can subsequently execute training without psychological reservation or hesitation. This psychological liberation produces fearlessness, facilitating high-intensity training execution and instinctive response development. Since all contingencies have undergone consideration, Garry maintains conviction that incremental training sessions generate approach optimization. Garry expresses absolute certainty regarding peak performance manifestation during Makhachev competition.
As I get to a week out from the fight week itself, I am putting people in body bags when it comes to just the outward, the pace, the mindset, the freedom of my body being able to move and go, because I've seen how this can play if it's the worst element it can possibly be, and I know I'm ready for it. And every single second along the way since when I started that, I've been getting closer and closer.
Garry's psychological confidence, however, extends beyond tactical preparation and analytical study. He asserts that competitive combat represents his inherent calling. Consistently, when entering the octagon, circumstances arrange favorably. Rather than constructing justifications for this conviction, Garry trusts this internal sensation and maintains confidence that this psychological foundation has consistently guided his career trajectory. Consequently, despite confronting one of combat sport's most accomplished championship-level competitors, Garry demonstrates complete psychological unintimidation. Garry comprehends completely that Makhachev has accumulated substantial championship victories, successfully defended his title against elite opposition, and defeated elite-level competitors.
I feel like I've been put on this earth to fight, and there's just a divine guidance that when I get in that octagon, everything just goes my way. Every time. Every time. I don't know what it is, how it works. I don't care to question it. I just enjoy it. I just feel like I'm doing what I love. I'm doing what I was put on this earth to do. And I've got so much more to do.
So where does fear sit then? Because I look at Makhachev. He's had 5-round title fights. He's defended belts. Mm-hmm. He's moved weight classes. He's beaten champions. Mm-hmm. You've never fought for a UFC world title.
Nope.
This is the guy that's done it all against the guy doing it for the very first time.
Yes.
There must be fear.
I mean, no.
Additionally, Garry articulated unconventional training camp methodology for establishing competitive advantage. Whereas typical competitors attribute success to intensified effort escalation, Garry fundamentally believes genuine competitive advancement emerges through strategic restraint and recovery prioritization. He emphasizes recuperation, family engagement, and personal relationship investment because he comprehends this psychological maintenance proves essential for sustained mental and emotional vitality. Rather than dedicating complete temporal resources toward training facility work, Garry concentrates exclusively on effective training methodology. Garry characterizes his approach as maximum intensity training execution while simultaneously providing himself adequate recovery opportunity.
As the fight approaches, when you're in camp, what finding those 1% actually looks like for you, the places that you have to put yourself to be doing more than anybody else.
I'm going to say something that I think a lot of people wouldn't expect, but I feel like the 1% is by doing less. Rest and recovery and joy. Joy as a 1%. Like, I enjoy spending time with my wife and my kids. I enjoy spending time with my friends and my family. I feel better when I'm playing in the garden with my little
You're
boy.
not looking at your watch thinking another hour of sparring and I'll be even fitter, even stronger, even more prepared.
I train once a day for maybe 5 days a week.
Even in
Hard.
camp.
Hard. When I show up at those sessions, I give it.
Elaborating further, Garry emphasized that every component constituting his daily routine fundamentally contributes to competitive performance outcomes. He identifies apparently insignificant elements, including nutritional intake, quality sleep, systematic recovery protocols, and emotional satisfaction and humor as the critical differential factors distinguishing elite athletes from their competitors. Equally significant for Garry represents maintaining functional capacity as devoted spouse, responsible parent, and reliable friend throughout training camp duration, rather than experiencing complete absorption within exclusive training focus. Garry theorizes that insufficient attention directed toward intimate relationships will prevent optimal psychological state manifestation within competitive circumstances. Garry identifies a critical strategic error numerous fighters commit, conceptualizing training camp as temporary isolated periods. Conversely, Garry characterizes competitive fighting as perpetual lifestyle commitment, rather than activity engagement exclusively during scheduled competition. Because continuous preparation characterization applies, he never experiences conditioning reconstruction requirements or psychological reset necessity from foundational baseline. He references significant career opportunities, including his competitive debut and late-notice confrontation against undefeated Shavkat Rakhmonov as philosophical validation. While alternative competitors declined such opportunities, Garry accepted, recognizing consistent preparation facilitated immediate acceptance capacity. Maintaining this preparatory philosophy, Garry expressed perpetual availability for immediate opportunity exploitation regardless of notice duration. He recounted major challenge acceptances requiring minimal preparation timeline, including formidable Carlos Prates matchup, because year-round preparatory status permits affirmative commitment when circumstances preclude alternative competitors. Rather than tolerating extended competitive inactivity, Garry pursues maximum performance frequency. He characterizes protracted inactivity periods as professionally frustrating, believing career peak years should maximize Octagon participation and continuous elite-level opponent testing. Garry's primary objective prioritizes sustained activity throughout competitive apex, recognizing constant competition proves essential for welterweight division dominance achievement. Garry identifies his chronological positioning at 28 years old as advantageous because substantial career duration remains, though Garry indicates future long-term inactivity would prove unacceptable. Garry further clarifies professional status doesn't necessitate excessive regulatory constraints. Garry comprehends maintaining equilibrium proves critical for extended sport longevity. Beyond communicating fight strategy and competitive conviction, Garry allocated time discussing his identity beyond competitive accomplishment. Garry articulated that authentic masculinity transcends physical toughness. Rather, genuine manhood encompasses integrity, responsible conduct, and interpersonal treatment quality. Authentic manhood, according to Garry, requires consistent word adherence, comprehensive family provision, and righteous action execution regardless of difficulty. Garry additionally challenged conventional masculine narratives regarding emotional suppression, contending that vulnerability expression demonstrates genuine courage. Garry simultaneously acknowledged that transcendent achievement pursuit entails substantial sacrifice. He maintains that extraordinary accomplishment aspirants must recognize that universal comprehension regarding their journey won't materialize. Rather than defending his decisions, he maintains exclusive focus on competitive objectives. Garry clarifies this perspective sometimes necessitates relationship limitation with cherished individuals should they fail demonstrating sufficient commitment comprehension regarding his professional trajectory. He emphasizes psychological resources require exclusive dedication toward competitive excellence achievement, asserting complete commitment constitutes the mandatory toll for attaining elite competitive status. What constitutes your perspective regarding Ian Garry's psychological conviction? Does his mentality properly align with championship aspirations, or might he underestimate Makhachev's formidable capabilities? Share your analysis below.